It's working. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for joining the session for ITER project. So we have about 25 minutes to explain the project and also the procurement future opportunities. The first part is by me from the ITER organization. It takes about 15 minutes, and then we will have also a session, 10 minutes from my colleague from Benjamin for Fusion for Energy. So please let me start. My presentation is basically for 4 parts. I quickly explain about myself, and then I explain about the project, what is ITER procurement procedures, and then what are the future opportunities. So my name is Kimura. I'm currently the section leader at the procurement division of the ITER organizations. So I should have said in the beginning that it's a great, great pleasure to see you today and to be here. In fact, I started my career in nuclear fission industry for fueling and rat waste. And after experiencing oil and gas, I've been working for ITER since I joined. I have an academic background in legal and business field, but nevertheless, I'm attracted to the ITER project technically. And then let me try to explain a bit. So what is ITER? So ITER is the international collaboration project, cooperation project, to demonstrate the technical feasibility and scientific feasibility of fusion for energy for peaceful purposes. So what is fusion? So actually fusions are in the universe. You look at the sky and then stars, they are actually shining because of the fusion reactions. So in our solar system, for example, our sun is also having the same reactions. It's giving a light, heat, and the life on Earth. So in a sense, we are having our civilization because of the fusion energy. The idea of ITER project is actually to produce a miniature scale of sun on Earth. The different ways to make it happen, the way that was taken by the project is called magnetic confinement. So you have the special machine called a tokamak, as you can see in this picture. In this donut-shaped machine, we put deuterium and tritium and heat it at a high temperature so that the plasma will occur, and as a result, 2 nucleons collide with each other, and as a result, you have helium and then neutron coming up, which can be used for the future energy. The ITER mission is, as I said, is to demonstrate scientific technical feasibility of fusion energy for peaceful purposes. And for that purpose, we need to make sure that we will control the burning plasma. And considering that this is for the future energy, we will make sure that the energy that is produced by this machine will be much higher than energy we make it happen. It's called a Q value, meaning that 10. That means that the energy that we get from this operation should be 10 times higher than we use. Looking at the history side of the project, it started, they started in 1985. It was a time of the Cold War, but the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, met the Secretary of State of the Soviet, Mikhail Gorbachev, and they met together and they talked, let's work together for fusion research instead of each country pursuing fusions. So this idea of working together actually came into this international treaty called ITER Agreement in 2006. And then in 2010, grounding work started. And today we have ITER, where we have 33 nations working together. It includes China, the EU, India, Japan, Korea, Russia, and the United States. The fact is that actually these countries represent 50% of the world population, and it represents 85% of the world GDP economy. I need to explain a bit about the ITER organization, because for those who are not familiar, maybe this might not be perfectly clear. So the IO is the entity actually I'm working for. It is also called, ITER organization is called also IO, the same meaning. It is the intergovernmental international organization established by the member state according to this ITER agreement. The purpose of IO is to provide for and promote cooperation among the member states for the ITER project. So technically speaking, we are the technical integrator of the project, And then legally speaking, at least in a French jurisdiction, we are the nuclear operator of the facility. The Director General is Pietro Barabaschi, who will also have a session tomorrow at 11:15. As I said, well, we work with 33 nations work together. So one of the uniqueness of the project is it was set up in a way that actually each country contribute the procurement. So they will actually procure major component by themselves and deliver to ITER. So this procurement is called in-kind procurement. And for this purpose, each member state also established a specific NJC to execute this responsibility. It is called the domestic agencies. If you look at, for example, at the tokamak, as you can see, there are different sharing of the procurement of in-kind. So each country take care of this procurement, and so that they will deliver that to the ITER site in France. Whole project has this in-kind sharing, but it's just one example. Project is moving forward. It's on track in schedule and cost. So delivered in-kind components as currently assembled are now being installed at ITER site, even today, this afternoon. So then, please let me explain about the ITER procurement procedures. So as I explained, in fact, when you look at this chart on the right side, it is called in-kind procurement. This is the procurement that I explained. It is a procurement where the member state, through their domestic agency, procure the component. Nevertheless, in fact, there are also a procurement that is needed directly for the ITER organization, the IO. This is called in-cash procurement. For those not in the project, maybe this term is maybe confusing, but you can simply consider it's just a procurement done by the ITER organizations. So internally in IO, it is the procurement division is in charge of this responsibility, and I'm the section leader of this division. We do follow, as international entity, we follow international public procurement rules, including, of course, competition, fair treatment, transparency, and also the sound financial management. The transparency is one of the keywords as a principle. So if you go to the website of the ITER organizations, we try to be as transparent as possible. So if you go to the site, you have the bottom called the tenders. There you will see a lot of information. So what is actually the amount that we actually procure? So it is not a small amount, actually. It's a significant amount, I would say. And this year, from January to October, already the IO, ITER organization, as in-cash procurement, already signed a contract amounting to 952 million. So this is the amount that we commit. It increased especially from last year. And we procured the services and supplies and works from the suppliers and partners from the different states. But one thing important is that because of our constraint, we need to have the suppliers from the member states. That is why on the right side, as you can see, we have suppliers coming mainly from Europe, but also from India, Korea, US, China, Japan, Russia. When we talk about the procurement procedures, there are different ways. The procurement procedure means how we do procure. So there are different ways. I don't think I need to explain everything. If you are interested, the information is also in the website. But at least, please let me explain just two procedures. First procedure is called call for tender. So this is the standard way of our procurement. So we do this for the large tenders, complex contract. So basically, it's 3 steps inside. The first step is called call for nomination. So it is where we say, okay, we need to procure this. And then we ask the domestic agency of the member states, and then the domestic agency say, well, please, we will nominate this company for this procurement. So this is the first step, nomination. The second step is that based on these nominations, then we will do the pre-qualifications. Okay, we will check the capacity of the company's experience of the company to see whether they are competent enough to be considered for the tendering. That's the stage 2. And then last stage is the request for proposal. So this is let's say in a normal sense, tender process, where we get offers, technical offers and financial offers, and then we select the best partner for the project. We also recently use more and more of open tenders. So this is almost same as call for tenders in a sense that we have tenders and then get offers. The difference is that it's much shorter in time schedule. We start directly with the prior information notice. We publish our procurement in our website, and also we inform the DAs. So any companies who get information can directly submit the tender to the IO. So this is open tender. For the evaluations, I think we sometimes get the questions, but how do we evaluate? So we, as a public entity, we be transparent how we do. So for each tender, we explain how we evaluate, but at least there are two major ways. One is called the best value for money. So of course, ITER, as you can see, is a complex project, first of the kind. Therefore, we cannot just choose based on the prices. We need to look at the technical aspect. So this first methodology, best for money, we use the combined point of technical and financial. The second one is called lowest price technically compliant. This is also something that we use for the low value procurement, like off-the-shelf items. But I would say that the majority of call for tenders, open tenders, we follow best of value money. There's one thing I need to actually also inform is that we have a specific e-procurement platform called iProc. So this is based on SAP Ariba. So as of today, we have about 1,500 suppliers registered there. Why this is important? Because you can get the information of the new tenders, call for tenders, open tenders in our website or from DAs. But in order to do the procurement actually, like starting from pre-qualifications for call for tender and request for proposal for open tender, all the transaction communications and submission, everything is done at this platform. Therefore, I hope that you have, okay, if you have not registered, we really encourage and recommend that you be registered in this platform. Lastly, and then I will talk about the future opportunities. So, in fact, excuse me, and sorry for because of the short time, I cannot explain all the detail of the procurement, but at least I will. I hope that you can come back with the information where you can get the information. So, in our website, we have all these the information always updated regularly. For call for tenders and open tenders, if you go there, we always publish the new tenders coming up as with marks. And also for the ones ongoing, okay, we also publish the name of the companies working, at least pre-qualified companies. But again, to be in the process in the PQ and then request for proposal, it is important that the companies are registered in IPROC. Market survey is also other communication we make. So this is not a tender, but we sometimes need to get to the industry to understand the reality of the market. We cannot just launch the tender hoping that things will happen. No, we need to understand whether the services and supplies exist in the market. And also we also ask information about some technicality and also financial and project informations. So it's really recommended that if you could regularly check this and then participate it. The answer is not binding, but we will use that information to prepare the technical specification and procurement. Therefore, in a sense, it's to be involved earlier stage of the procurement. Lastly, for forthcoming tenders, this is the new tenders we publish in our website. So we also explain what are the cost ranges. So cost range A is up to 2 million, B is for 5 million, C is for 12 million, D is without ceiling. So it can be any value above 10 million. So we show which are coming at which schedule. For example, in the fourth quarter of this year, meaning actually we are already in November, so meaning actually within 2 months, we have more than 10 tenders in the areas of diagnostic systems and also in the areas of cooling water systems and some IT equipment. Again, you have all this information in the website, so you can check together with some technical description inside. For the forthcoming tenders for the first quarter next year, from January to March, we also have more than 10. Again, I see that we have the diagnostics and also the cooling waters, and plus some of the treatment plant services. Lastly, for the second quarter, fourth quarter next year, also we have all these tenders. So again, so thank you very much for listening to my part. So I hope that it was a short time, but I hope explained that what is ITER project and what are the procedures and where you may get information. So thank you very much. So I pass the floor to my colleague, Benjamin.
So good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Benjamin Perier. I am in charge of market analysis and supply chain. In fact, I am in charge of the supplier market analysis. So some people are looking for customers. In my group, we are looking for suppliers. I'm working for Fusion for Energy. It's the European agency for ITER. So Europe is in charge of 45% of the ITER construction. And in order to do so, we rely on a supply chain. So Fusion is maybe a little kid in all this world and in this event too, but it's growing and our supply chain is growing too. So I will show you business opportunities, and I also want to show you how, while we are building ITER, we are also building the European supply chain and the Fusion supply chain. Yeah. So the narrative around Fusion is unchanged. It's quite simple, probably as simple as Fusion is complicated. So these are the merits of Fusion, and this has been the case since the project started. In Europe, there have been a long roadmap until ITER. In fact, we still have 2 machines under construction, the DTT, the Divertor Test Facility in Italy, and ITER in the south of France. Some are still in operation, in particular the GT60 Tokamak in Japan. But you see that here we are reaching a size and a level of technology that is really the last path to demonstrate the feasibility of the technologies necessary for fusion, the efficiency of fusion. In the European Union fusion roadmap, I have to say that, and it's also a question by industry, is it finished after ITER? Well, we hope no, and we trust it will not. In parallel, we have here constructing an accelerator in the south of Spain to demonstrate some material characterization. It's called the demo-oriented neutron source. And later on, and I hope as soon as possible, we will start the construction of the demo fusion reactor. And F4E, Fusion for Energy, is probably expected to lead the construction of this machine. Some recent highlights in the European fusion ecosystem. So we have 2 machines in particular this year that have sustained some plasma, the West Tokamak and the W7X in Germany Stellarator, with some performance achieved already this year. So this is the beautiful ITER machine. Europe is in charge, as I say, of 45%, which means that the intention is that Europe is engaged in most of the technologies that are critical and that will be critical for fusion. Okay, you can see here a vacuum vessel sector ready to be placed into the tokamak. This is a nice, I don't know, with the magnets, probably with the TF coils, it's probably 1,300 tons that need to be positioned inside the pit. So we already have 2 in place, and we plan to install more in the coming months. Okay, these are some examples of some components made by the European fusion supply chain. As far as we are concerned, we started operation in 2008. Until now, it's 7 billion euros that we placed in operational contract, with some peaks in some moments where we had to start the building construction, and it will go on. For the next period, which is 25-31, I think we are planning on a budget of around 6 billion euros in terms of procurement. this is an example of what I wanted also to comment is we are building ITER, but we are also building the knowledge of who is building ITER. So we have this kind of mapping for all the technologies. Here, example for buildings and magnets. So here we map with some technologies, which are the companies that we have identified in Europe that can build these specific components or deliver this technology for ITER, and that probably we will solicitate in the future for other fusion machines. So at this point in time, we have 2,300 companies in our supply chain database, of which 800 are or have been contractors, and they are mapped around something like 200 technology. I will show you how you can register in the supply chain database later. So how does it go? This is our procurement process in very high level. First, our agency sign a contract with ITER, and then we sign a contract with the industry to meet the obligation that Europe has with ITER. So industry has to deliver to ITER, and in fact, while doing this, this is a fusion supply chain that we want to build, and we want this fusion supply chain also be able to compete for other machines. For the demo machine, for accelerators, for American machine. And also, we want them to be able to develop what they have learned working with us in other areas, like in space. And for this, we have this technology transfer program where we showcase the technologies that have been developed by our supply chain. Yes, we want to mention also, and this is really the European side, the comment that, okay, this is representative of globally how the US, China, and Europe is performing related to innovation. So it's quite complex index based on number of patents, return on investment, etc., etc. And I think that this describes also the situation in fusion today. Yeah. So we were quite in advance, but okay, there are some people that are waking up. So we need to take care of that. And we also have recently, probably you see here, starting 2020, the private sector. So we have some private fusion investment that is totally exploding in the last 5 years. And you see where it is exploding at the moment, private startup in the US and in China. So again, here, we are a little bit advocating so that European private funds go to European private startups. Because at this moment, European private funds go to the US. So it's also something we are working on. Now, some upcoming business opportunity. These are only examples of what's coming on in the future. We have pretty much the same procurement procedure as ITER, so I will not comment on that. And we have the same categorization. So we plan to launch before end of the year the leak detection system manufacturing and assembly. We plan to launch end of this year, probably early next year, the radiological and environmental monitoring system, qualification, procurement, installation. It's an estimate of over 10 million euro contract. We have also in the pipeline the water detritiation system. We will start with the glove box. There is a market survey that has been started. We use also a lot of market survey to identify potential supplier. I will show you later on how you can identify this. So this is for the fuel cycle, and also we will have the wrap system that will come probably sometime in 2026. We don't know yet. Heating system, we have the neutral beam cryopumps call for tender that will call in 2026. 6 units to be delivered. Here is an example of a cryopump prototype in our Mitica test facility in Italy. And we have also a more specific contract, the passive magnetic shielding of the neutral beam and the active correction coils material. This is really purely material that we need to procure, S235 steel, that we need to launch as soon as possible. Here is, in the case of heating system, a kind of roadmap of what's coming on. We will have the absolute valve, which is a large, it's a 3-meter diameter metallic valve with metallic sealing that we need to procure. We will have the fast shutter. We will have the beamline components also to come later on in neutral beam. Diagnostic, this is also a very important contract. The diagnostic ports that you can see on the ITER machine that is on our stand, L123 if you want to pass by, or L128. This is a call for tender that is imminent. We have 6 diagnostic ports to manufacture, so you can see the size compared to a human here. It's a complex mechanical object that has been subject of a long pre-procurement phase and that is now ready to be launched in terms of call for tender. For the GT60 SA Tokamak, this is a machine that we are operating in collaboration with Japan. There are also some procurement opportunities before end of this year, in particular the integration and testing of the divertors of the GT60 SA Tokamak. These are 33 cassettes that are equipped with plasma-facing components and a large number of diagnostics that are already included in the scope of this call for tender. So this is coming again before end of 2025. We have also a complex object that we have been struggling with, which are the pellet injector that we plan to relaunch before end of this year. Also, we also have a quite number of transversal activity. In that case, instrumentation and control integration services. It's a very important framework contract that we are close to launch. We have also a lot of contracts in project management, framework contracts that are going to be launched early next year. So this is an important interface for you as industry. So this is our industry portal. So it's not the most sexy platform, but it works. So you can find here some news, for instance, some workshop that we are organizing, proposition of partnership, okay, in that case for the LINA cryo modules. You also have information on information day. In that case, an information day is announced. So here, anytime we have an information that is of interest to industry, we post it here. You have the possibility to register in the supply chain database by clicking on this link. And in that case, you will introduce yourself and tell us which technologies you are able to deliver for ITER. You also have here the possibility to introduce your company and to appear here and to propose a partnership for a specific call for tender. For instance, you have identified that you can do a part of the scope, but you need to find a partner for the full scope. In that case, you can use this tool, fill in a form, and appear here in view of an upcoming call for tender. Yeah. So that was a bit in a rush what I wanted to share with you. I put again here the direction of our industry portal, our technology transfer platform, how to register in our Fusion for Energy supply chain, and a contact point. Yeah, and I'm happy to answer questions now or later on. Thank you very much.